I don't care for the Fallout video games. In fact, many believe that my exposing Fallout 4 made Bethesda bring Fallout 76 into existence in a rather broken state. More broken than your heart after prom. So when I saw that Amazon Prime Video was going to release a Fallout series, I thought, oh well. Then I saw that it is a full season at once dump, which means binging all the episodes, writing a script, shooting a video, editing, all by Friday. Our first episode, The End, episode 8 is called The Beginning. How very Smashing Pumpkins of you. The show opens with a cowboy actor entertaining a kid's birthday party in Los Angeles. This is Cooper Howard, played by Walton Goggins. Oh, and suddenly there's a nuclear war that breaks out. You'll notice right away the visuals in Fallout are a cut above. This live-action series is helmed by Christopher Nolan's little bro, Jonathan. And with that association comes some seriously impressive production values, bringing to life Fallout's retro-futuristic aesthetic. It's essentially the future the 1950s envisioned. Look at these effects. And shot on film. Flash forward 219 years, Lucy McLean, that's Ella Purnell. Look, I'm not going to lie and say would, but maybe if I had to. She's a resident of Vault 33. She's a good, well-rounded citizen who seeks a mate, and an arrangement is made with the neighboring Vault 32 for a wedding. But not all is as seems. The purported residents of Vault 32 are raiders from the surface. Blood is spilled in an exciting, albeit one-sided battle. Lucy, her father Henry, and brother Norm survive, but Henry is taken captive by Moldaver. Lucy sets out to venture the wasteland and bring home her father. This is a wasteland populated by a variety of seedy characters and factions. We're introduced to Maximus, a boy training to be a squire for a knight, yearning to someday wear that obviously plastic armor.
A bunch of us were chosen to get anointed.
And finally, the Ghoul, our cowboy actor from the opening. Yeah, the once famous Cooper Howard is now a noseless mutant with eyes set on a bounty for a target to be introduced in episode 2. The first episode absolutely delivers. Well, the first episode does. Episode 2, we begin to see how this show sinks into mediocrity. There's a scientist who not only is he experimenting with dogs, but also creating cold fusion. Not exactly the same field of study. He's fleeing wherever he is from, and he takes the dog with him. Really just a way to shoehorn in a dog because there's a dog in the games. Maximus has been deployed with his knight Titus, tasked to capture this scientist. Dude bro dialogue breaks out, probably because Michael Rappaport didn't want to memorize lines. Anyway, Maximus declines to treat his injuries, and thus the knight dies, and Maximus takes over. Our leads come to head at Philly, a trade hub. Lucy's looking for Moldaver, Scientist Man is seeking escort to Moldaver, the Ghoul wants the bounty on Scientist Man, bloody shootout ensues, and Knight Titus comes to Lucy's rescue. In the ruckus, Lucy takes on the responsibility of escorting the now grotesquely injured Scientist Man, who quickly gives up, telling Lucy to cut off his head and take it to Moldaver. You're going to see a lot of flashbacks to Cooper Howard. He's the only protagonist that was around pre-nuclear war. They're not true episode padding waste, as they eventually do shed light on the truth. But it's with episode 3 that we understand that this show is a split narrative MacGuffin hunt. Everyone wants Scientist Man's head, and few know he's hiding the cold fusion capsule. Knight Titus lost the fight with the Ghoul in humiliating fashion. He tries to repair parts in town, but like a true idiot didn't think to cover his sweet, sweet armor with a tarp. And somehow we're supposed to think that this little wimp can take on a cadre of hardened wasteland scum. Maximus manages to get everything squared away just as the Brotherhood is sending their knight a new squire, played by Budget Michael Cera. You've seen this guy around. A lot of this,
These are scary as shit. Bet you just killed it on sight, no questions asked. Oh, you're a ghoul? You're a dead ghoul.
In case you're wondering about all the rough transitions, the stark cuts to black that is, Amazon said that they'd be introducing ads to Prime Video. Now, so far I've only been seeing ads at the start of shows. These blanks suggest devious plans to flood the service with enough ads to send you back to the loving arms of basic cable. Lucy loses the head of scientist man to a giant axolotl. The ghoul catches up with her and uses her as bait to bring it to the surface. But it's not until Knight Titus and his squire arrive that we're able to retrieve the head, as it vomits itself to death. Yeah, the humor in Fallout is very much of the gross-out variety, and as we go along, we will see the available SNL alums. Man, I just wish we could have maintained that tone that the premiere had. Episode 4, we thankfully have less jumping around to do, mostly sticking with Lucy and the ghoul. He's given up on the bounty, and he's now just wanting to sell Lucy. We get some world building, meet more ghouls, and find that they have a thing for drugs, otherwise they become zombies. No love lost between the ghoul and Lucy. She bites off his finger, he cuts off hers, then sends her to a facility to be traded. Weird moment as the bot tends to her finger, replacing it, then immediately telling her it's going to harvest her organs. So why bother fixing the finger? When you know it, Lucy escapes all on her own and even evokes the golden rule to help the ghoul. Episode 5, Maximus comes clean about his identity to Budget Michael Cera. They fight, Budget's foot is smashed, and he removes the fusion core from Maximus's suit, rendering it useless, and even flees with the head of Scientist Man. Lucy just so happens to come along and help Maximus. We get a lot of scenes back at the vault, and I don't really want to get into this too much because it's basically filler. So what if somebody from Vault 31 is always pronounced the Overseer? So what if we're going to divide up and have to clean up Vault 32 or take care of the prisoners? Point being, the season finale stacks reveals in a way that we could have saved time cutting all the vault activity. Lucy learns from Maximus that the surface has been reclaimed before and that the effort known as Shady Sands failed. They head to a clinic, but it's actually a trap, but alas, a good trap, sending them down to Vault 4. Episode 6 sets the stage for the big reveals. We start with Cooper Howard, now the spokesperson for Vault Tech. He gives a film tour of a vault, is a little at odds with his wife working at Vault Tech, wondering who it was that decided that dogs can't come along. An actor friend refers him to a group of people who are against Vault Tech, and wouldn't you know it, head of the organization is none other than Moldaver. Lucy and Maximus begin questioning matters at Vault 4, which has a number of mutants, but they seem friendly enough.
You're welcome to come.
You're going to be seeing her boob in a minute. So they have a cult-like activity that punches that nudity ticket. And who is their deity? None other than Moldaver. Lucy is told to stay away from level 12, so she goes to level 12 and sees some naked pregnant women in cryo chambers. This causes Lucy to flip out and throw acid in a guy's face. As this is going down, I have no idea why she has jumped to the conclusion that these are inhumane experiments. Episode 7, Lucy learns she was too quick to judge Vault 4. The mutants actually rose up against their enslavers. We also learn that weird experiments are a recurring theme across vaults, though Lucy can't seem to put her finger on anything particularly odd happening at her home. Nonetheless, Lucy must be punished, and since the guy holding the sword is Chris Parnell, you can anticipate a gag. Lucy is sentenced to go back to the surface, which her and Maximus kind of need to do for quest reasons. This doesn't prevent Maximus from interrupting for lame comedy reasons. Alright, I can't be the only one who thinks it's very convenient that Vault 4 allows people to go to the surface to gather supplies. They just so happen to get Maximus's armor and bring it back as far as they walked. But what's it matter, because Maximus has to abandon his suit anyway since he stole Vault 4's power supply, and Lucy makes him return it. Remember Squire Budget Michael Cera? Well, he still has the head and the dog and a smashed foot. He locks the dog away and seeks a radio station to contact the Brotherhood, while he encounters a salesman with the promise of fixing that foot, giving him a serum with superhuman healing capabilities. Later it's revealed this is transforming him into a ghoul. But if a ghoul is a mutant with superhuman healing capabilities, how do they ever lose their nose? When you know it, the ghoul is back on the head's trail and takes the dog back. In his flashback, we see how he agreed to spy on his wife at the Vault Tech meeting. Lucy and Maximus catch up with Budget at a radio station where he called the Brotherhood for help, but the now presumed ghoul Budget panics and flees while Maximus prepares a false head to present to the Brotherhood as Lucy embarks with Scientist Man's head to Moldaver. Blah blah, Vault 33 is divided up, some relocate to Vault 32, and Little Bro enters the styrofoam door to Vault 31 to learn the truth. Okay, this is it, the season finale. Maximus is shunned by the Brotherhood, with the leader quickly realizing he presented the wrong head, but if he leads them to Moldaver, he'll be forgiven. Lucy arrives at Griffith Observatory ready to hand the head over to Moldaver in exchange for her father. Flashback Cooper Howard listens in on a bugged conversation. Turns out the plan with the vaults was to run each of them as a different social experiment to see who had the best plan to restore America in case of nuclear war. But just to make sure we get it right, we're going to need the nuclear war, and none other than Cooper's wife floats the idea. Little Bro, now in Vault 31, learns that it's only populated by a maintenance bot and cryo chambers. Turns out Vault 31 is full of Vault Tech management, including Henry McLean, Lucy's father. See, I told you Little Bro's whole escapade was a waste of time. So Lucy been lied to, and it turns out as a small child, her mom took her to Shady Sands, and Daddy was angry and had the place destroyed, with Mom left as a ghoul. Big raid on the observatory. Which, if everyone knows where Moldaver's hideout is, as she's called the woman on the hill, why didn't they attack this when, I don't know, already? The ghoul gets in on the fun, Dad shows his true colors and knocks out Maximus, but the ghoul shows up wanting to know where his family is hidden. But alas, Henry escapes, and offing Mom, Lucy joins the ghoul. The dust has settled, but Moldaver enters and activates the reactor. Dying as power is restored to Los Angeles, and somehow, now awakened, Maximus gets kill credit. Lastly, Henry treks to, you guessed it, New Vegas. Prime Video's Fallout starts off very strong, and it just unfortunately dips in quality as the episodes go along. I didn't appreciate the gross out humor, the dude bro shock dialogue.
You wanna make my cock explode now?
Sometimes even the action got a little gross for gross sake. And also the way that they've structured the flashbacks, it's not so much of, oh, hey, we're giving the lore and the backstory. It's really more about trying to set up a reveal and then expecting some kind of congratulations from the audience as we applaud them for delivering. And what about this revelation late in the show where it's trying to convince you that Moldaver's the good guy? Yeah, I'm sure Shady Sands was a utopia. And for being best buds with Lucy's mom, she sure didn't have any qualms with setting her up to be raped and murdered. Regardless, I think I would be interested in checking out a season 2. This is not the worst streaming series I've seen, and the production values are quite good for the most part. But I need to know from you guys, does this story work if you are a fan of the games, or does it crush some sacred cow? You know, kind of like what Paramount Plus did with Master Chief removing his helmet and all of his armor. Let me know in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, all that stuff, whatever.
Thank you for watching my son's YouTube station. It's not for everyone, but he tries. Maybe if you bought some merch below, he'll eventually get good at the YouTubing.